finally standing up on his own.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Mule Fabrications, and we're working on the yellow J10 Mule Jeep. We are going to be mounting the rear ORI struts with the shock hoops right in about here. And you remember from the last video, we made the lower tabs already. So this one, we have a lot more room than we did up front. So I am going to do the standard hoop with 1 3/4 tubing. So what I'm going to start by doing is we're going to tack up this bottom side. I'm going to have to trim a little bit of this bed out here for the shock to tilt in a little bit more. And we are going to get to mounting these. And we are going to hopefully be able to flex this thing out in the rear, just like we did with the front. So let's get to it. There, we got that bottom tacked up. So now I can start marking out where I want to cut this floor out. We're going to measure up for where this hoop needs to go. We're going to get going from there. Alright guys, bending these hoops for the rear shocks is not fun, especially when you don't have hydraulic bender. And the thing I noticed the most when I've done these before is when you start getting these big bends that come all the way around the die, you get a lot of spring back in the tube. So you really have to over bend it, and then it springs back to its shape that you want. So before you start bending and you're building trucks when you have kids, make sure the baby monitor is closed during nap time. So let's start bending this. This is going to take a while, and you guys are going to go into fast forward mode. Ready, set, go! We're going to pause fast forward mode. I've noticed that a little lube on the die and where it slides really helps the bending process. So, little tip, fast forward mode, go! Alright, I got partway through and the toddler's screaming, so we will come back to this. Alright, the toddler is awake from nap time. Say hi, Charlotte. She's gonna ride her little car in the garage. Help Daddy with the Mule Jeep while he bends his tube. Alright, we're gonna go back to fast forward mode. Ready, Charlotte? Daddy's gonna bend it too. Well, that's it, folks. It's like we're playing instead of working. Well, you want to pick out some tools? Work on Daddy's Jeep. Pick one out and work on the tire. Are you helping fix Daddy's Jeep? Oh, look at that. We're gonna lose a screwdriver down the axle shaft tube. fun part. Get it off the fender. Yeah, you think so? There we go. We got one shark hoop. It's a little bit wider at the bottom than it is at the top. It's about a 1/4 inch wider here than it is here. But that'll work. I can pull it in a little bit when I tack weld it, or I might like that. So we got one shock hoop. Now it's time to trim it up and fit it in over that ORI. Yeah, you think so? You want to try fixing it? Fix it with your screwdriver? No? Okay, we'll put it away. Should we go play now? Now that Daddy's done with that bend. We'll be back. All right, I got this semi mocked up. You can see where I had cut some of the bed floor out a little bit to make room for the hoops. And this is very basic. It's gonna be super simple. I am going to basically cut these right here, and I will weld a bung or a short piece of pipe onto the frame and have this sit on top of it. And these shock towers are basically going to be straight up and down, which is good because it'll make lifting the bed off easier with some simple tabs right onto the hoop. This is a lot simpler than the setup we had to build on this side to clear the turbo setup and keep the heat away from the strut. So we are gonna trim that down. We're gonna copy it for the other side, and we are gonna keep moving forward with this project. It's turned out a lot faster than I thought. Let's go. So I got the other tube bent, and I matched it with the other side, and I rough cut out the cope. See there? So I'm gonna get in here with a grinder and fine tune it. I just rough cut it with a cutoff wheel, and then once they're fitting nice, we will attempt to tack them up and go fit them up onto the back of the yellow J10 Mule Jeep. Let's go. All right, so we got the one ORI on that hoop I bent mocked up on this side. It's tilted that way just a tad bit, so when this axle drops out, it'll be basically straight up and down. It's tilted in about 10 degrees. Now that I got this mocked up, we are going to copy it onto the other side. As you see, I just have a tube here that's going to get welded to the frame for the support, and we will copy it on the other side, and then we will make a crossover bar on these just like we did on the front right here. So let's get to it. So there we go. We got both sides fitted up, matched all the angles, and now that they're both set up, we are going to work on crossbar from here to there. I'll show you what I got for that. Got these nice little tube clamps. It'll make it easy for removing the crossbar so I can take the bed off. On here, on the front, like you remember, we made them with those bolt-on plates because that worked out best with the towers. But I think these are going to work better for the rear. Super simple. We got tube clamp there, tube clamp there, and we have a removable crossbar, so I can take this box off later. So now we'll do the moment of truth and we'll see if we can flex this thing out. So as I'm starting to let it down, seeing that strut is just about to contact these pieces I had welded in when I was setting the suspension up. So I'm going to jack this back up. We're going to take the ORIs off. cut those off, and then we can do a real flex test with this. So we got those stands cut out, but we are running into clearance issues. So the main one is that strut is about to contact the frame. Right there. But I have an option. I could put the tabs out a little bit more, but I'm worried if I do, then the strut might come in contact with the tire at full bump, because we still got a few inches up to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out and I'm gonna do a little French notch, I think that's what it's called, in the frame. So I'm gonna cut the frame here and make, you know, another inch of clearance here behind the strut, because I do like where the angles are. So I'm gonna get set up and cut that out, and we will go from there. So off camera, I was thinking if I move these lower axle tabs all the way over versus where they were right here, that might be easier and smarter than cutting the frame. So I figured I'm going to try this before I go through with cutting the frame. So we'll get these tacked on, get the shocks back up, and we'll see how much clearance we have. So that did the trick. I moved the lower shock tabs over about 1 inch. Plenty of clearance with the tire. And at full droop, I got about 1 inch of clearance on the shock. So I'm happy with that. On to the next part. Way easier than French cutting the frame.
So it's finally standing up on its own. Video.
Alright guys, thank you for watching. I am beyond excited right now because this is the first time this Jeep has been sitting on its weight in probably 4 years. We got the front ORIs all mocked up on their shock towers, and we got the rear. So next video, what we're going to start doing is we are going to start building a roll cage in the bed that ties down into the frame. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the interior cage yet, but that's the next video coming. Thanks for watching. Mule Fabrication. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.